County is where to watch. Election officials will release the first results at 8 p.m. These will be early ballots that have already been counted, and election officials say those votes will make up about half of the entire vote here in Douglas County. What Democrats are going to be looking for as these results start coming in is the areas north and south of Omaha where there are a lot of Black and Latino voters who haven't turned out in recent elections. Democrats have spent a lot of time and effort this time around to change that. We'll have to see here in the next hour if it pays off. Brett and Martha.
All right.
Thank you, Garrett.
Throughout the night, Harris Faulkner is getting real-time reaction from real voters as results unfold with voters' voices. They'll be talking about the issues that drove them to the polls. Harris, great to see you. Good evening.
Great to see you too, Brett. It is so exciting to finally be here this night. Welcome to Voters' Voices. We have a live audience of Americans making their voices heard throughout the night. And I'm your host, Harris Faulkner. We are witnessing a race for the White House like no other. We know that. Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris put 7 particular states in focus. And in those battleground states, if you live there, you know it has been intense. Voters are telling me all about the tidal wave of campaign ads and polling experts trying to dig in and learn how they voted and why. Well, that's because in recent years, those states have been key in determining the next president. But voters all across America know their power. And with me for the evening, the linchpin of our great republic, the Voters' Voices. You guys, it's good to see you. Welcome. They fall all along the full political spectrum. And over the next several hours, we will hear their take on the race for president and what the issues were that swayed them one way or the other. And the other person who's with us tonight is a friend I've invited, polling expert Lee Carter, president of Maslansky and Partners. Warm welcome to you, Lee. You got a big night.
Thank you. Big night.
Yeah,
so excited to be here.
Yeah, we've been talking to voters and so on and so forth. And let's just start off with a show of hands real quickly. Because the numbers for early vote, 84 million just now. And still counting all those mail-in ballots. So it's huge, incredibly large, setting records this year. How many of you voted early?
Wow.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
Yeah, and how many of you voted today? Yeah, well, we would expect not as many, right? So how does that compare with what you find in your analysis?
Well, what we're looking at right now, they're saying that about half people have early voted. And I think that's
Wow.
and so we could be looking at record turnout. Now, there's some people who say it's going to be more than half have already voted early, but I think we're going to be looking at, the numbers are showing that we're looking for a big night.
Yeah, that would be huge if that were the case, because 2020 really was the burst on that. Okay. A quick rundown of what we'll be showing you tonight before we hear from the audience. Our team compiled key moments from the Trump and Harris campaigns, and Lee is showing some of those comments to American voters along the way, and they use their computers to respond to those in real time. The lines on the screen that will show you their reaction: red representing Republicans, blue for Democrats, and gray for independents. And our first topic, we heard a lot of this, fiery rhetoric. This from Vice President Harris.
So listen, so much is on the line in this election, and this is not 2016 or 2020. We can all see that Donald Trump is even more unstable and more unhinged, and now he wants unchecked power. And this time, there will be no one there to stop him. Not even the Supreme Court, which months ago told the former president that he is essentially immune no matter what he would do in the White House.
I'm mostly watching the gray line because we've been told so much about independents and how important they are. What did you learn with this?
So you could really see Democrats responded favorably, but independents gave this a D, while Republicans gave it an F. And one of the things that we heard from independent voters is that Kamala was supposed to be this joyful candidate. She positioned herself right off the bat as somebody who was going to be different, bring us together. She said we have more in common than divides us. And the more negative she got, the more negative independent voters got towards her. And I think we saw that happen in the polls. She had a surge in the beginning and things sort of flatlined once she sort of turned very negative.
All right, here's one from former President Trump.
She's running on a campaign of demoralization. It's a campaign of hate. Her lies and her slanders are very shameful and really inexcusable. Today we're going to talk about the real character of Kamala, and a person who is no remorse for the anguish she's inflicted upon families all across America. Kamala intends to conflict and keep this misery going, and she's going to keep it going as long as she can, because that's the only way she can get elected.
Now, you can see very different reaction here than we had with the other voters. Democrats, not surprisingly, gave this an F. Independents kind of flatlined it, gave it a C. Republicans gave it an A. I think this kind of rhetoric is priced into Donald Trump. They want to see him be tough. They want to see him be a fighter. And a lot of the things that he talked about were things that people agreed with. So I think people give him more of a pass on the tough rhetoric than they do on Kamala.
All right, let's talk to some voters. I can't wait for this part. Okay, so Steve, you are a Democrat, and I understand you voted for Trump, and you live in the all-important battleground of Pennsylvania. So tell me about your journey and what it's been like and why you made that decision as a Democrat.
Well, Harris, for me, it was very simple. The issues for me are fighting anti-Semitism, being strong on our greatest ally, Israel, economic strength, fighting the border, and peace through strength. And Donald Trump, we have a 4-year history of Donald Trump as president, and he demonstrated all of that. And it was a no-brainer. It was been a very interesting reaction for people to see me demonstrably promote my rapport for Donald Trump, but I also have supported Dave McCormick. So that was sort of a double-edged whammy for me, but it was a no-brainer. And supporting Donald Trump is an easy decision.
Yeah, as a Democrat, you said, people were reacting to that. I appreciate your answer. I appreciate everybody's time. We will hear more from our voters' voices throughout the night. Let's go back to Brett and Martha.
All right, Harris.
Thank you, Harris. Thanks, Lee. So the clock is ticking down to one of the biggest poll closings of the night. Pennsylvania is about to finish the voting process. Our special coverage continues with Jesse Waters and Sean Hannity coming up.